Look at us, we're live. I got a little bit of a cough. Yeah, you hear that? We got a little lounge music. I don't know, this platform that we use, Restream, they're suddenly offering me the use of music. I mean, it's all pretty generic music, but I don't know. Yeah, we might use it. It might come in handy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Radio Misfits show for a Monday evening, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's when we do it every Monday, every Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, not so much because my kid plays football on Thursdays, and we like to go and join him for football on Thursday. This music will come in handy when, because sometimes I like to engage in the pregnant pause where, like, I'll stop and sort of think exactly how I want to word whatever it is that's coming out of my mouth. See? Nothing. Doesn't it sound better if I was to, like, do music? Well, now the music's not playing. Hi, Whitney. Oh, now none of the music is playing. Oh, here we go. All right, this is what they're calling hip hop. All right, never mind. I don't even want to play with the music. If I can't trust the music to play every time, then I'm absolutely not going to be messing with it. It's obvious. See, it's another one of these things. This is what I always say about technology. They introduce something because they see an opportunity to start making money off it, even though they know it's not 100% ready for mass market. And then they put it out there and we all buy it and they make the money off of it. And then we use it and we go, hey, this thing doesn't work. And then they can't hear us because they're on their yachts. But that's okay, because in 9 months, they introduced something called the next generation of whatever this garbage is that we paid the full boat for. Because first generation, you're always paying more than you're ever going to pay for something ever again. And it's going to be the worst possible version of that product. So there you go, early adopters. Nah, you're not a bunch of lemmings. All right. That's what's going on with the music. See, they introduced the music to Restream. Like, use the music now, and I just tried to use it and it didn't fire. So whatever. Not going to be using it again. James ain't here. Have you noticed that? James isn't here. James Parker typically co-hosts with me here on the Radio Misfits show. He's not here tonight. He sent me a text about a while back, and he said, hey, stuff's going on, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, you, sir, take the day off. So we're totally good with that. So James is not going to be here. So I figured, instead of not doing a show, why not just do a show anyway? Why not just do me alone like I do Monday through Friday on the High Noon Show? Join the High Noon Show every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Central Time. All your day's hot topics, your current events, your news, whatever it is that's happening in the world. Every day at noon, I get here, I turn on the cameras, and I start going, hey, did you hear about this? And we talk about everything that I think is relevant. We don't engage in politics. We don't do divisive nonsense. I don't care how you voted. Hey, man, red listeners are just as valuable as blue listeners. I don't care. We don't do that. We don't separate you based on how you voted. That's every Monday through Friday, high noon with me, Pugs Moran. Talk radio the way I believe it should be, the way it will be one day again. And damn it, I hope to be on the precipice of that. So what are we going to do tonight? Typically on a night like tonight, it would just be me and James just chopping it up, talking about whatever it is that's on his mind, whatever it is that's on my mind. But I thought, since James isn't here, and it is going to be just me. See, James is a TV guy. James is a journalist. James has an actual career outside of this little stream that we do every day. And I want to have a conversation about something. I don't know. Hey, I'm already unemployable, so why not have a conversation about this? Why not? It seems to be something that it's front and center right now. So why not have a conversation? Well, I don't know that I've ever really heard people have a conversation. And I don't know that I need to involve James in this. What he of the 10 kids and, a whole lot to lose by offering an opinion on this, then maybe, I don't know. It's a hot button issue. I'm going to talk And by the way, that's not all I want to talk about. I got a bunch of stuff. I got a bunch of stuff that we can do. I got a bunch of videos we can watch of people getting into fights. This was stuff I wanted to do with James, but it's here. It's ready. We can do it if we need it. I'm ready to talk a little Dallas Cowboys. I wanted to talk Dallas Cowboys with James because James is like a really big Dallas Cowboy fan. And I'm just like a recent Dallas Cowboy fan because of my kid. I've explained it. I've explained it on the noon show. I've lived in this city since 2001, off and on. And I've been exposed to the Dallas Cowboys at every level. And I've never been a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I've always secretly rooted against them, all because of something that happened when I was like 8 years old. When I was like 8 years old, my Bears made it to the playoffs for the first time in my life, which had probably only been like 2 years because I was like 8. I'm watching football. How long? So it was like in 2 years. So finally, it's like, oh, the Bears are in the playoffs. And they get wiped out in the first round by the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this was the Tom Landry, Roger Staubach, Emmitt Smith Dallas Cowboys of that era. And they wiped out my Bears, and I was very angry. And from that point forward, like 8 years old until moving here in 2001, I had a chip on my shoulder about the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't like them. I didn't like them one bit. And over time, you live here, you start to get indoctrinated into the cult of the Dallas Cowboys. And I started to loosen up on that. I had to outright fake it for a number of years while working for the Dallas Cowboys flagship. But whatever. So then I had a kid, and the kid grows up here, and the kid's a football meathead. Now the kid is 14 years old, and he's a legitimate Dallas Cowboy diehard. And so now I got to be a legitimate Dallas Cowboy diehard because it's not as much fun watching my friends be absolutely devastated and heartbroken after the Cowboys destroy them on a Sunday afternoon. My friends, when that happens to my friends, that was fun. I was like, it's not so much fun when it's your 12-year-old, your 13-year-old, your 14. So this is the year that I decided I went all in on the Cowboys. And my God, do I have takes? Oh, do I have opinion? And I wanted to share them with James. James isn't here. So maybe we still have time for that. We may need lighter fare. I don't know, discussing the current state of the Dallas Cowboys while I'm doing so from North Texas, from the Dallas Metroplex. I don't know if that's lighter. It's a pretty heavy topic around here. But I think globally, compared to the thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about, not quite as heavy. I want to talk about Israel. I want to talk about what's going on in Israel. As everyone's favorite dumb guy, understands. I spent some time today watching the wall-to-wall coverage of what's happening in Israel between Hamas and Israel. Gaza, what's coming out of Gaza, what's going on in Gaza. I don't know if you've seen any of the live streams, but it's just, it's carpet bombing. They're just, they're just blowing stuff up. Gaza's just basically like a shooting gallery at this point. They're all pinned in. Gaza's all pinned in. It's all walled off. They got it. It's, so all they got to do is just sort of like lob shit over the wall. It's going to be easy. It's going to be easy for Israel. One of the most, I don't know. I don't know what largest, because size and large, that's all, China's the largest. They're one of the most effective militaries in the world. Let's say that about the Israeli military. They're one of the most effective militaries in the world, and they're going to get the job done. And it's going to be really bad for a lot of people, a lot of human beings. Now, one of the things that I've been noticing, especially online, as I have been covering, the socials, as I've been covering it in my fantasy world, I cover this, but really it's me laying on the couch with a laptop following the war. One of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of people, is this really a sides issue? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is. Maybe there's a way of viewing this as, I don't see this as like, I'm an American. I live in Texas. I got to be honest with you. I don't know dick about Israel. I don't know dick about Gaza. I barely know where Gaza is. I mean, I know what Gaza is. Do you? I mean, well, here's something. Here's something that I thought about this afternoon. I went, hey, wait a second. So I'm playing dumb a little bit. I know what Gaza is, okay? Gaza is the strip of land that since the 1967 borders has essentially been an occupied area of Palestine, right? The Palestinian people believe that to be their land, their homeland, all of this stuff, but it's an area that was given to Israel by Israel. So Gaza is a Palestinian area right there on the Mediterranean Sea and what, near the border of Egypt, right there with the border of Egypt. Okay, so that's what Gaza is. Gaza is a horrible, horrible place in this world. It's a bunch of people who, I don't know. It's from my dumb guy understanding. My dumb guy understanding of Gaza has always been that it's just essentially a city masquerading as a gigantic internment camp or refugee camp. It just looks like an absolutely terrible place. But again, I don't know that much about Gaza. What I do know about Gaza is that there is a governing authority there. And the governing authority is the old PLO. Remember the old, I don't know if you're an old school Gen Xer like me, you might remember Yasser Arafat and the PLO. They've changed their name. They've rebranded a bit since the old Ringo Starr looking Yasser Arafat died. He looked just like Ringo Starr, that guy. He looked just like him. He died. They rebranded. They now call themselves the Palestinian Authority, but they are without a doubt. They are the PLO. And they've sort of tried to become a legitimate political faction. Now, why? The PLO was a terrorist group. We all know this. Hamas is a terrorist group. We all know this. But the modern PLO or Palestinian Authority, they like to pretend that they're real people, and they have a statesman. They have this dude named Mahmoud Abbas. We've all heard of Mahmoud Abbas. He's been on the world scene for years and years. Where's he in all of this? Well, that's the thing. See, not all the Palestinians. See, this is where I look at the situation, and I look at what's about to happen in the coming days, and I think, well, this is what happens when you take the muzzle off of, the Israeli military. Let them go. Let them go. These people, they're surrounded by people who want them wiped off the face of the earth. Okay, so we all know that. So that's what the military there in Israel is capable of, and that's the can of whoop ass that they're about to open up on Gaza. But I don't know that does everybody understand that, they're just going to slaughter all of these people, the hostages as well, too. That's the hardcore nature of the Israeli military. The Israeli military doesn't negotiate for hostages. If you take hostages, those hostages in the eyes of the Israeli military are already dead. They're going to wipe you. They're going to wipe everything off the face. That's how the Israeli military handles these situations. So that's what the world is bracing for to occur in Gaza in the coming days. And that might be something that, if you're really not thinking too hard through this whole thing or really understand what's happened in Gaza and what is going on in Gaza, you might think, yeah, good, let it happen. God, maybe you wear one of them T-shirts that says, kill them all, let God sort them out. That's a hysterical T-shirt about genocide and whatever. I actually used to own that T-shirt. So I'm not making fun of it. I'm just pointing out that I don't know if you apply that methodology to the real world that you'd have a really nice place. So I'm just trying to keep a nice place. My point is this. Hamas does not represent the people of, unfortunately. There are two groups there. You've got the Palestinian Authority, who believe that diplomatic measures and negotiation and, having a seat at the world table is the way for the Palestinian people to one day acquire what they hope and they want, which is the Palestinian state, right? That's the Palestinian Authority. But then there's Hamas. Who is another group of Palestinians who are there in Gaza, who have decided with this attack of the last 72 hours to show the people of Gaza that there is another way that doesn't involve nonviolence. These are the people who are saying we're done. These are the people who are ready to just, go meet their maker or whatever. But that's not everybody who's about to get wiped out. Again, you see, this is why it's so complicated and it's so tricky. And the situation over there is just such an ugly, hot mess of, and it's not about religion. I hate that. Whenever you hear someone go, this whole thing, this is about religion. It goes back thousands of years. Well, yeah, in its most basic form, It is. But this is not about religion. This goes back to 1967. This goes back to the 6 Days War. This goes back to the 1973 war. This goes back to borders that Israel occupied post 1967 that they hadn't occupied before, that they haven't given up since. That's what this is about. This is about land. This is about somebody took land and didn't give it back. And the whole world, by the way, acknowledges that, what happened in 1967 was probably something that should be fixed, but nobody has ever pushed it. And, so anyway, this is really bad. I want to show something because you can show me hours and hours of bombs going off and the destruction of the Gaza skyline, and you can show me all of that stuff, and I'll be like, oh, I'll go to bed. I get tired of it. But there are certain things that are showing up. One of the storyline that has absolutely gripped my soul in this whole thing is the storyline concerning the music festival and the people who were abducted and murdered and all the horrible things. They have these things called, see, we're talking about the desert, right? So you get the desert, and there's only like certain areas that are good for farming or whatever. So the settlers to Israel, the Jewish settlers, they have these things called kibbutzes, and they're just like little tiny towns, and they do the farming and they live communally, and it's a beautiful thing. Some of these kibbutzes are right up on the line of Gaza, right where Gaza is. So they had these young people in this one kibbutz, and this is, by the way, a very big event, I guess. It's not just a house party, and it's not necessarily just like a local regional. It was like an event that people came from all over for. People traveled from other countries to attend this thing. It was a music festival, peace and love, dance and music something festival. I still don't know if it's like a Coachella or if it's just like a bunch of DJs doing a rave. I don't know. But whatever it is, they threw this thing right up there, right at the gates of Gaza, right there. They threw it right like the first, and they playing their music and they're dancing, and it's for peace and love. And, I'm sure it was very symbolic, them doing it there. And what happened? Well, when Hamas started their initial incursion, I mean, we've seen the videos, right? They flew in to Israel in these like hydroplane or glider plane. I don't even know what they are. We've seen them before. Every neighborhood's got one of these guys where once a summer you look up in the sky and you'll see a guy on a bicycle at 5,000 feet. Like, what the hell is that? So that's how they invaded Israel. That's how they went in. And one of the first things they took over was this music concert, this concert event, and they took all these people. 750 people, they say, are still unaccounted for from this. Now, that's a number. It's a very specific number in a very short period of time. At a time in the early stages of war where propaganda runs crazy. So I don't know how that number could be, but that's the number that's going around. 750 people who supposedly attended this musical concert are missing or believed to be taken hostage. So here's a video. I showed some videos earlier today, but this is a video. This is a compilation. This is a few minutes. This is a video of this music festival starting from the beginning, where people are just dancing to the arrival of the Hamas terrorists, and that's what they are. By the way, let's not lose sight of that. Let's stop the Palestinian. What I tried to do there, talking about Israel, the Palestinian people are not Hamas. That's the thing that I keep going back to. Some are, and those sons of bitches, they deserve whatever they get, but not all of them. A lot of these people support the Palestinian Authority and diplomatic measures and the dream of one day having your own Palestinian state. And some of these people are that. Not these people that we're about to see. These people we're about to see are monsters. So when we get angry and when I justify whatever there's a retaliation coming. Whatever is coming, I just think of these monsters, and I try not to think of the innocent people. But there are innocent people that are going to be caught up in this. Here are some innocent people right here who got caught up in this. Watch this. This is a 2-minute compilation video from that music festival and the events that led to the tragedy of a lot of them being killed dragged through the streets, and a whole bunch of them being kidnapped and are missing. Here we go. Okay. Now here's where they're starting to see the paragliders glide in. And they're firing.
סע באוטו, כנס לאוטו כבר. נכנסו לכאן אנשים, בוא, בן, כנס לאוטו.
Listen to the shots.
נשבעת לך, אנשים רצים לפה. תיסע, פשוט, מהר, פשוט תיסע. לא, יש שם חדירת מחבלים!
I mean, like an American high school, am I right? Like an American shopping mall, am I right? So, you know, there's going to be some blood. This is about the worst of it. These people are probably all dead. Actually, I don't know. How'd the video get out? Well, probably streamed live. So there's a tank there. And that's not Hamas. That's got to be IDF. So we're hearing that a lot. That's Israeli Defense Force. Up here, sort of getting these people out. Geez, you guys, that's the real world. That's the place we live. That's the earth of 2023. Wow. I mean, like I said, I can sit and I can watch footage of like carpet bombing of Gaza City, and it wouldn't register even 1/10 as much as that. That's that, you know, because I have a 14-year-old kid who's probably going to start going to concerts. You know, I've been to concerts. We've been to these places. The juxtaposition from, you know, just a bunch of D-bags dancing at some rave. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be like, look at you D-bags. And then something terrible happens and you feel sorry for them and you forget that they're D-bags at a rave. But still, my God, man. So, so that's the other thing. So this dude, Mahmoud Abbas, who is in charge of the Palestinian Authority. Now, he is not friends with Hamas, right? The reason that Hamas is, you know, waging this war, and why I say, you know, always keep in mind that it's not everybody. This is a terror group inside Gaza, but that's not all the people of Gaza. There are some people who still want the diplomatic measures and the diplomatic path. This is Hamas simply saying that the time seems right for them to try something and to show the people of Palestine that there is another way, and maybe it's all-out war, because those people are crazy because they're terrorists. So Mahmoud Abbas, who is the president of the Palestinian Authority, he is not friendly with Hamas. Hamas wants him dead. See, Hamas took control of Gaza. I think it was in 2007 after they had elections, and Hamas beat the Palestinian Authority in Gaza City. So this very militant terroristic wing claiming to represent the Palestinian people is not necessarily the only people out there that, should be listened to. It's complicated. And as I said before we started this, who am I? I'm just a dumb guy. I'm just a dumb guy who's lived in this world for the past 50 something years. I don't know. I'm certainly not an expert. And if you need expert breakdowns of this, go talk to anybody. But here's what I am an expert on. I'm an expert on how to be a human being. And this is going to be really bad. Oh, it's fun. I know it's like a video game. We're over here safely on our couches watching it on our big screens with a big bowl of ice cream. Hey, did you see that building blown up? Maybe that's good. Maybe that's good that we have that detachment. But man, I just keep thinking, I've seen the videos. I'm not going to show any of them. You can find them. There are some just absolutely horrifying examples of man's cruelty to man. I don't understand. I blame the English. That's what I do. I was listening to a guy today on the news and he was talking about, what, if we have to go on, who do we blame? And he basically blamed the English, who in 1925 basically just hauled ass out of there. The English had when it was all colonial England. England had all of these people. Fun fact, England had all of these people on thrones in all of these different Arab countries, and all these people were like brothers, or like it was like their dad and stuff. Like the king of Arabia, the king of Arabs, as designated by the British, the king of the Arabs, his son was on the throne of Jordan, and then his son was on the throne of Iraq, and then his brother was on the throne, and then that all fell apart like in 1925 or something. Somewhere like back then. It only lasted for a couple of years because England pulled out. They went, yeah, we're out. And as soon as they pulled out, all of these like puppet governments fell. But anyway, what I'm saying is that there are still like certain families that are in charge over there. Jordan survived. The king of Jordan today is, goes all the way back to whatever that was. Anyway, but that was funny. Somebody blamed the British from like 1925 for all this. Let's say, well, go to the chat room. I'm sorry, you guys in the chat room. I've just been sort of ranting. I can see that Barney's got some opinions here. Let's see what Barney has to say. I said I wanted to lean on the chat room today, so let's do it here. Let's see. Let's go. Whitney says, I'm just sitting at work bored. I'm sorry. Christy says, hi, Pugs. Hi, Christy. Barney says, I was watching Ben Shapiro just before the show started. Don't do that, Barney. Byron Granger says, hello, I'm late. Jeff Ballard says, I love the idiots who say Israel has a stronger military, so they shouldn't retaliate that hard. All right, I'll take these one at a time. I haven't heard anybody say that. I haven't heard anybody say that they shouldn't. Look, I've heard people call for some calm and some humanitarian compassion and maybe some, but quite frankly, as I said during the noon show today, I think that, they're not going to use nukes. They're just going to flatten that place. And a lot of people are going to die. Just don't forget that. There's going to be a lot of dead little kids in the streets. There's going to be whole generations of people growing up with burns and missing arms and shit like that. Because not everybody's going to die. People are going to survive. We're going to be reminded of that for years to come. They ain't going to use nukes. You don't nuke someone right next to you. You don't nuke somebody that is right next to you and that you're downwind of. Okay? So they're not going to nuke Gaza. They want Gaza. Do you know what kind of beach property Gaza is? I mean, my God, if you could seriously just kind of pave that and just redo it, that's some of the best property on the Mediterranean. It's just unfortunately really bad right now. Jeff, so yeah, they shouldn't retaliate that hard. No, they're going to retaliate hard. And I understand it. See, this is the complicated nature of being a human being. I understand. Did you see there was a video, man, I don't even want to describe the videos. There's a video of a little Jewish kid, little Jewish kid, sorry, excuse me, little Israeli kid. I assume he's Jewish. Little Israeli kid taken hostage. And they were parading him through the streets in Gaza. And a whole bunch of other kids, like around about the same age, were beating him with sticks. I mean, you see that, you got to be like, okay, everybody's getting a bomb dropped on them. I don't care. And it's not like they haven't been saying, get away, here's where you need to go. I mean, they have. They have Netanyahu. Again, it's complicated, man. I'm conflicted. Because there's a part of me that's very law and order, and there's a part of me that wants vengeance. A part of me that thinks vengeance is important and vengeance is good. But man, then there's another part of me that's just like there's a bunch of people that didn't do anything. And they're probably cool people. And they are about to be messed up. Do you know that there was until a couple of years ago, there was a whole bunch of Israeli families living inside Gaza. Israel pulled out completely of Gaza. Gaza used to be run by Israel up until 10, 15 years ago or something. And then they pulled out and they told everybody that was living there, hey, we're going to pay you. I don't know what it was. Some money. We'll give you money, but you got to leave here. And so there were Israeli communities inside Gaza that didn't leave. Those people are going to get completely smoked. Yeah, well, that's what happens. Barty says America has an underdog problem, Jeff. I don't know what that means. Let's keep reading. Jeff says Aaron started it by slaughtering the Canaanites. Don't be disingenuous, Jeff. You're too smart for that. Don't go all the way. Let's stop. I hate that. It goes all the way back to the Bible. I know. Yes, technically it probably does. But this particular issue that we're dealing with right now does not go back to the Bibles. It goes back to 1967. We can just look at the events of 1967 in the West Bank, the partition of the West Bank, District 1, District 2, all of that nonsense. And that's where we can see the origin of the issues we're dealing with today. And so, by the way, I say that. I don't say that for any other reason other than when we say this goes back to the Bible days. When we say that, that allows us to wash our hands and say there's no fixing this. But if we're realistic about it and just admit that it goes back to 1967, then it seems a little bit more tangible. Maybe we can figure something out, because it isn't some unsolvable riddle about immovable faiths. That's not what it's about. That's what it'll be about again. But right now, in the moment, it's about more boots on the ground, tangible issues like political clout and borders, the way borders are drawn on maps. That's what it's about. And that two-state solution isn't a thing either, because apparently nobody wants that, which is a problem, but okay. Let's see. Barney says the 67 borders were unacceptable, and Israel have back way more land than they kept. Barney also says it's time for some Old Testament, leave no stone stacked on another type response. See, I'm not an Old Testament guy, Barn. I love your look. We go to war. I'll fight next to you because you sound like you'll tear it up, but I'm not an Old Testament guy. Let's see. Barney says, I'm almost positive that women ended up raped and dead with her legs broken in the back of a Palestinian truck. Yeah, that was that Shina Took girl. We actually saw her in that compilation video that we just watched. She was the girl that got into the car, and then she got out of the car. It was after getting out of the car that she was captured. She's sort of become the poster girl for all of this. You can Shina Took, I believe is her name. Oh man, you know what? I should get it right. But anyway, yeah, she was there. She was dancing. She's in a lot of the videos where she's dancing. And that's because her mother released the videos. Her mother released the videos to the media saying, yes, this is my daughter. And yes, that is my daughter in the back of the pickup truck. She was on Saturday. They paraded her through the streets of Gaza, and they let all these nice ladies line up and just spit on her. Yeah. Tell me about your God again. I mean, I'm sorry, but you know, I mean, what kind of religion is that? It's complicated. It's complicated. And again, just because the streets were filled with people spitting, that doesn't mean that that was everybody. See, it's like, well, look at what they were doing. And it's like you see a lot of people online, because there's a lot of idiots. There's a lot of bad people in this country, and there's a lot of bad people who are celebrating in American cities, from Boston to Philadelphia to New York to Chicago to Houston to San Francisco. There were these protests over the weekend in support of Palestine. People, burning the American flag and doing all that stuff. And, you're only doing that. You're just looking for trouble. Well, we don't need that. There's also a bunch, but again, Oh, do you see how difficult that is? Because see, this is not a cut and dry issue. See, this I am not on a side. As I said at the very beginning of the show, I'm not on a side. I live in North Texas. I'm not Israeli. I'm not Jewish. I'm not Arab. I'm not from the Levant. I have absolutely no. I'm as white. I've come from Celtic blood. My people come from a whole different part of the world. I have no horse in this. I don't know. It's a very complicated situation. So, if the Jewish people want to have pro-Israel rallies, that's fine. The Palestinian people want to have pro-Palestinian, that's fine. Or is it? Like, don't we kind of look at this issue, like, even without thinking it through, without really knowing what the issue is, don't we look at the greater issue of Palestine versus Israel as an us versus them? And isn't the us Israel? Just like without even thinking about it, right? Like, without even thinking about it, we're like, yeah, we're with Team Israel, not that other team. Why is that? I don't know why that is. I don't know why I'm just. Well, I mean, I do. It's programming, but I've never really questioned it about myself until now. Now, this is exactly what I said on the noon show concerning the incident that we are dealing with right now. Oh, there is a side of the righteous in the side of the righteous in this particular incident in the last 72 hours and what's about to happen. I do believe that there is a side of the righteous. There are people who were attacked. They were attacked by another Hamas. They want to be a political, but they were attacked by another. Let's just go ahead and say it was Hamas. They were attacked by air, by land, by sea. The largest incursion into the largest military incursion by a hostile military force since the 1972 Egyptian and Syrian war. So it was real, right? And we know who to blame for that. That is this thing that we are dealing with right now, this 72 hours, everything that's about to happen, everything that is about the atrocities that are going to befall anybody that is inside Gaza. We know they're coming. All of these things are because of Hamas in this particular situation. Now, again, taking the 30,000 look at the greater Israeli-Palestinian issue, no. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying, but I'm saying right now, what we're dealing with right now, whatever happens next, end of the world, start of World War III, that's because of Hamas. Hamas did that. So they need to be knocked down. I think that's coming. And I think that might be coming in the next few hours. Let's see here. Barney says, makes it hard to care about little Palestinian kids. No, nothing makes it hard to care about little kids. Little kids are innocent. Little kids are innocent. Come on, Barney. Byron Granger says, evil is real, God is not. My man. I want that bumper sticker. Barney, Byron, let's print those up, man. Evil is real. God, no, I'm not sure about God. Evil, I have seen examples of evil. There's like some dog kennel in Gaza that is currently being used to house small toddler children. Did you see that video? I mean, these videos are being released by Hamas. Hamas is putting out hype tapes. It's obvious that they're in a dog boarding facility and the camera pans the dog kennels and it's all little 3-year-old Israeli kids that were kidnapped. Not with their mothers, not just stuck in a cage somewhere. Holy shit. Yes, evil is real. God can't be found, not for those little kids. Not right now, anyway. Who knows? Let's see here. Jeff says, Islam is not a religion of peace, but then again, most aren't. I can't push back on that, Jeff. I can't disagree with you there, my friend. Chrissy says it's all scary. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. This is scary because, I mean, look, this war in Ukraine, right? So this is a very big deal. It's a very big deal because of what it means about alliances. It's not a big deal. I mean, look, if your barometer for what is and isn't a big deal is, are there going to be tanks rolling up my personal driveway here in Allen, Texas? Then yeah, no, this is not a big deal because that, but it is a very big deal on the world and for the world, for the global order of things. Alliances are being made. This was a situation that forced the world to basically say what side you are on. There was never really a cause for that. There was never really a cause for that before Russia and Ukraine. So now we've got that. So now we know where China is. And we know that China's got a thing with Iran. And we know that Iran and Russia are tight. And we know that Russia's with Syria. And we know that Brazil is trying to horn its way into this little net. So we know that now. We see that. That has now been made completely clear because of the events in Eastern Europe between Russia and Ukraine. We know this. Well, now we're going to get to see this down here in Israel as well, because, and if you'd noticed, Israel declared what? The Knesset there in Israel, they declared war against Hamas. They didn't declare war against Palestine. They didn't declare war against the Palestinian people. They didn't declare war. They very specifically declared war against Hamas. Why? It's important. It's important because the great fear for generations had been that if ever Israel gets to a point where they're going to declare war against an Arab country, will they be, in fact, declaring war on all Arab countries? And it doesn't matter how Israel themselves intended the declaration. It's about how it's going to be heard. If Israel is declaring war against Hezbollah up there in Lebanon, is that going to be heard by the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade there in Syria as a call to war? Is that going to be heard by the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt as a call to war? Is that going to be heard by Hamas in Gaza as a call? So, Israel always has to be careful about who they're saying they're at war with. And this time they were very specific. We are at war with Hamas. But what are all those other groups going to hear? Right now, we're all watching Hezbollah. We're all watching. Hezbollah is an Iranian proxy army. That's what they are. They're a paramilitary group stationed in Lebanon, basically designed to harass Israel at the cost of or at the orders, you should say, of Iran. That's what Hezbollah has always been, and that's what they are. Hamas, by the way, has always been sort of that, but a little bit more closely tied to the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood created a monster in Hamas when they basically funded them and allowed them to grow into a counterbalance to the PLO, because the Muslim Brotherhood didn't like the power that Yasser Arafat was attaining for himself. So the Muslim Brotherhood said, let's get another group that's going to be at war with the PLO. And that's how we got Hamas. And that's what we have now. Anyway. So where are we? Anyway, here's where we are. Because of what's happening in Eastern Europe and Russia, and because we all know that now all of these other countries are going to have to declare, and we're going to have to see what happens now in the Middle East. Like, are we going to have attacks now coming from the north? Is Syria going to get involved? And if Syria gets involved, are they going to be using their Russian advisors? How about Turkey? Where's India and Pakistan in all of this? So far, it looks like India and Pakistan is on the side of Israel in all this, and that's good. Where's China going to, well, how big is this going to get? Promise you one thing, it's certainly going to affect the price of gas. That's right, because everything affects the price of gas. No, so it's very, and here's the other thing, right? This isn't about some war. We like everything in bite size. This is a war, and it started today, and it'll be over when we tear down the statue in the town square. That's not how it is now. Basically, what just started over the past 72 hours is another 10 years of violent unrest in an area that has had violent unrest for about 50 years, but at least it was at a level where it could be, you could have a soccer game. You could hold an international sporting event, and you could do something. Planes could take off and land from the Jerusalem airport without any real, not anymore. See, now we've just ratcheted it up. Now it's just going to be 10 years of, this ain't going to be, this could be a ground war. It'll turn into a ground war if Hezbollah comes in from the north. And if all of a sudden you get some people, see, Gaza is under a blockade by Egypt. Egypt does not like Hamas being in charge of Gaza. Egypt, over the past couple of years, has decided that it's easier for them to deal with Mahmoud Abbas in the Palestinian Authority than it was Hamas. So Egypt has created a blockade of Gaza that's been in effect now for like a decade. Like nothing can get in or out of Gaza. Now that's, Arab against Arab. So we already know that Egypt isn't real happy with Hamas. So maybe we don't have to worry about that. Maybe, although if this does become a call to the Muslim world, the war is not right, because isn't that what they've been saying for all this time? I mean, this could get really scary. And how is this going to spill now into Eastern Europe, where there's a big Arab presence there, and it's just going to spill over? It's going to be a mess. It's going to affect the Olympics. I don't know. I don't even know what the latest is. I just know that typically, what time is it now? So they're 8 hours ahead of us at 6 o'clock, just about before 6 o'clock in the morning there in Israel. Daybreak tomorrow. Daybreak tomorrow, which is now. It is daybreaking now. So when I sign off here, I'm going to go watch the war because as day breaks, they say that the land incursion could begin at any moment this evening, or at least, I don't know. Let's see what is the latest on that. So what I'm thinking is maybe if something like that happens, then we'll jump back in and we'll do like a special, hey, the land, because it's good. It's good with the lights because the sun is up and you can see, and yeah. Although, will they do I don't. Well, what am I? I'm a military expert. I don't know how this works. I mean, are they just going to flatten the place for a couple more days and then they're going to send people in there? I mean, they've got hostages in there, right? And the Hamas is saying that they're going to start executing hostages. They say they've got hundreds of hostages. They're going to start killing kids. Yeah, there's going to be something like freaking. All right, let me see. What is the latest that we have here? Before we get out of here for the day. I know it's a little bit different of a Radio Misfits show, but it was just me, and I wanted to talk about Israel. Because I feel like I don't feel like anybody's really talking about it. I think people are first of all, CNN is absolutely useless, man. I am so sorry. CNN, now with a special 10-minute CNN report, CNN goes inside a hospital in Gaza to show you the people. Why are you doing this? It's day 3. Isn't that like a day 10 story? It is day 3. This is a filler story. You're just going inside a hospital and exploiting people in their absolute worst moments so that a fat guy in Texas at home watching can go, that guy had a bad day. What is the point of this? You know what you can do? You can stand outside a hospital and you can go, what's going on in that hospital is incredible chaos. Heroic doctors and heroic nurses are working around the clock to save people's lives. I'd go in there, but I'd just be in the way, right? You can do that. That's what they should do. But no, they go in, they get in the way. They stick a camera in somebody's face who's just had their hand blown off. I hate that. That is so stupid. Stop it. We're doing round-the-clock coverage, and we've got to air something. Then maybe you shouldn't be doing round-the-clock coverage. See, the content should dictate how long you're on, not just, let's do round-the-clock coverage, and then you start trying to fabricate content because you're doing round-the-clock coverage? Stop it. Story either warrants round-the-clock coverage or it doesn't. And it doesn't. It really doesn't. But, if it's a hot story and it's getting clicks and, all that kind of stuff, they're going to stick with it and they're going to run it into the ground. I mean, that's why CNN did nothing but talk about Trump for 4 years. Nothing but that. There was no other news between 2016 and 2020. There was no other news. We don't get news. All right, guys, I think that's it. Do we want to do lighter? We can't do lighter stuff. We can't. This is not a good day. Barney says, because one side rapes and murders women and children and parades them through the streets and the other side doesn't. Oh, Barney. Yeah, man, there's some pretty bad instances of, come on, man. I mean, no. See, that's not what this is, Barney. One side is not the fucking angels and the other are the absolute worst. There are bad people on both sides that have done bad things to each other over the course of forever. What we are seeing today, Barney, is absolutely 100% monstrosities created by Hamas. We know who to blame for these today, but we can't say that the other side doesn't. Man, do you know that in 19, which was it? It was during the original settling of the Knesset. You know, the Israeli settlers went in and slaughtered hundreds of Arabs in their beds as they slept, and the whole world did absolutely nothing. That's a real thing, man. That happened. You look into the history of all this. So if this was like 1957, and you were talking about who rapes and murders and slaughters in their beds, we'd be talking about the Israeli settlers and how they moved the Arabs out of their land. It's unfair. It's unfair. Let's be angry at Hamas today. This group of Hamas guys. But man, the Israelis have done some bad stuff. That's why I say this is so complicated. You can't just pretend one side is. But then you could also justify it. So, okay, so the Israelis go, we have to be tough. We have to be heartless because we are surrounded by people who want to wipe us off the face of the earth. And they say that. And I say, man, that totally makes sense. I totally get that. And then I say, but why are you there? And then you get into this thing where they're like, well, because after Hitler, we decided that we wanted land and we just took this land. And they're like, okay, but was there anybody else living there? They're like, yeah, but so what? We had just been through. See, that's where it gets dicey. And then there was a lot of really bad shit that occurred to the Palestinian people. There were a lot of really bad shit that happened to them, man. There's no history of it because Hollywood didn't make movies about, how the kibbutzes and all of those, especially like in the Golan Heights, like how that area was settled and some of the things. I mean, it was ugly. It was ugly. Human beings are ugly to one another. Barney also says America's pit bulls off the leash in Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon should just be real stiff for a while. Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. Our pit bull is off the leash, but Syria and Lebanon for sure. I mean, Syria for sure. Not Jordan though. We're Jordan's awesome. We got no issues with Jordan. Right? Jordan's cool. Jordan's King Hussein. Doesn't Jordan have a queen who went to Arizona State? Doesn't Jordan have a queen who's like from Tucson? Yeah, no, Jordan plays ball. Jordan's not a troubled country. Jordan ain't Syria. You know what I mean? I think Jordan plays ball. I think we're good with Jordan, right? And Jordan's a big player in all of this. Jordan's a big player in all of this because of the West Bank, because it's the Jordan River that, the West Bank is on the West Bank of. The East Bank of the Jordan River is the country of Jordan. So Jordan's a big player, but I don't think we need to worry about Jordan. But yeah, Syria, Lebanon, Iran. You know what? Iran. Yeah, I hope you're as thick with Russia as you think you are, and I hope Russia still has a little something left in the tank to help you, because Russia seems to be. Iran wants to get involved in this. Come on, Iran. Come on, let's dance, you bitches. Saudi Arabia too. Saudi Arabia, interestingly enough, Saudi Arabia, in the months leading up to this, Saudi Arabia and Israel had been negotiating like fools, like friendly fools. Saudi Arabia is trying to be more modern. And I think part of Saudi Arabia being more modern is an understanding that if they're going to do business in this part of the world, and if that part of the world is going to, be modern and have the cool skyscrapers and the indoor ski slopes at their malls, because they do. You ever notice how those Middle Eastern places, they look like, Earth in the year 2050. Anyway, so that's because there's a few people over there who are trying to push those stone people forward. And stone people, yeah, they are. They're archaic. Somebody who thinks that they ought to murder their own daughter because she was raped and is like, yeah, those are stone people. I don't want to get into it with you. Every time I bring this up, I get a bunch of people in the chat room. That's racist. No, it's not. No, it's not. These people have beliefs and they're in a culture that is not in step with 2023. Of course, they're not stone people, but they're close to it. Stone Age. I don't know what they are. So where was I? So Saudi Arabia is making deals with Israel, but now, like all of the people in Saudi Arabia, they hate Israel. Now, like Prince, whatever his name is, the dude with all the money who's buying sports leagues. That dude's got to be like, okay, hold on. Now, where's he going to come down on all of this? Right? Is he going to be like, oh, I can't negotiate with Israel anymore? Because it was quite controversial, but because it wasn't really a problem and it hadn't really made big waves, they were getting away with it. They were getting away with being friendly towards Israel. Can Saudi Arabia still be friendly towards Israel? And look, Saudi Arabia is the big dog in that part of the world. The fact of the matter is that they've got a wildly corrupt monarchy who, luckily for us, is wildly corrupted. And, so they're not crazy about the idea of let's blow it all up in the name of Allah. They like their lives. Trust me, the people at the top, they're in Saudi Arabia, they love the way shit fell out for them. They don't want to go, blah, blah, blah. They don't want the 70 virgins. They got 70 virgins. They're the Saudi royal family. So they've kept everything kind of in line, and that's good. But this is a big test. This is a very, very big test. All right. Let's see here. I think that's going to do it. Let's wrap this show. I'm going to go back to watching more war stuff. But like I said, if there is something, like if the land war starts at first light, as we do bumper up on first light right now, I will jump on and I'll do a live stream. We'll watch the land incursion. I've got a couple of cool live streams on YouTube. If you follow me on Facebook, Pugs Moran, I'll share the live streams that I watch. Pugs Moran on Facebook, Pugs Moran on, hold on. What the heck? Sorry. I don't know why. I don't know why my Spotify doesn't. It takes forever to download now. This happened earlier today. All right, we're just going to leave it alone. We'll go back into it. Barney is hardcore. My man Barney. Barney is hardcore. Jeff says a lighter topic would be how San Francisco broke back Mountain the Cowboys last night. Oh boy, they sure did. I can't. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why this isn't working. Oh, good Lord. Hold on. There we go. All right. Hey! All right. Spotify's been acting weird. All right. Well, thank you. I did a whole hour on my own, just ranting about Israel and not really understanding everything that's going on there, while at the same time kind of understanding what's going on there, but, acquiescing that it is incredibly complicated. And you shouldn't be getting your opinions from me, but I'm glad we could talk because I've had a lot on my mind. Like there's a president. There's a president of the Palestinian people. And he's like completely not involved in any of this. He's just like, yeah, there's a whole army going to war in the name of the people that I represent, but they ain't my army. And I don't know what they're doing. They're not including me. As a matter of fact, it's just weird. And then we got no Speaker of the House. So we got a gang of 8. That's like a gang of 7 right now, which I suppose is fine. We got Kevin McCarthy going, hey, while all this crazy stuff's happening in Israel, you want me to sit back there in the speaker role? And they're like, nah. And he's like, I'll do it if you need me. And they're like, yeah, we don't. There's no speaker. There's like, so how are they going to vote on aid? How are they going to debate what to do here? No, we're not. We're not. All right. Oh, tomorrow's noon show game. Tomorrow's noon show is not going to be a noon show. It's going to be a little bit later. I don't know how much later. Like I said, keep it right here, and we'll let you know. Twitter and Facebook. I'll let you know tomorrow morning as the day progresses how long. It could be like 12:30. It could be 3 again like today. I think it's probably going to be closer to like 12:31. That would be my guess. All right, that's tomorrow at noon, high noon, all the hot topics and all that stuff. Also, if you support this kind of talk radio, non-divisive, non-political, just people sitting around chopping it up, drop a little something there in the. We don't fundraise on the nighttime show. We haven't done it in forever. So go ahead. If you like the show, you want to support it and drop a little something there in the tip jar, that would be greatly appreciated. We haven't received a tip since last week, so we don't have a producer for tomorrow's show. So just saying, the opportunity is there. All right, guys, we're going to see you tomorrow at some point. I love you all. Bye-bye.